afternoon, everyone. It is a great honor to be here and share with you some of my poems. The first is dedicated to my mom. This is called "The Fire in Her Eyes Redefines an Apple." The ritual of fruit begins again in June, when buckets of smiling plums and blistered peaches arrive for her in cars, altering our kitchen into a steaming workshop. Soon blackened pots boil with our life's winter blood. She quickly buries the dead in a cemetery of sugar, where apricots and pears await to be baptized and born again as jam and jelly. Late summer brings chopped cabbages, cucumbers, and ancient spices, all bathed in a sauna of hot vinegar and crushed red peppers. The walls of our kitchen come alive with the sweat of our ancestors who live again through recipes. The dead continue to feed the living with greasy fingers, stuffing our mouths with history's sweet cuisine. Mama leads us to her garden and motions over a field of greens. They are vibrant tongues lapping sunlight like thirsty dogs. She tells us this is a lost art and warns that our wives will be useless to our children. Weeping, she presents the bouquet of her hands, fragrant with 40 years worth of stewed tomatoes, summer squash, sweet corn, and candied yams. She forecasts her death and instructs us to sprinkle her body with salt until her skin appears wild with dandelions. Place her in our biggest pot and simmer to a low gravy. Seal her in a glass jar tomb. Store her in a cool, dry place and wait until the fog of poverty settles in the valley of our ignorance, when there is only rainwater, credited bread, and the memory of meat. Thank you for that. This I wrote for my father. This is called Requiem. Shut down the highway. There's nothing up ahead. The catfish have stopped biting. The great man is dead. Board up the liquor stores. Hide the guns under the bed. Oh, river has run dry. The great man is dead. Jump out the back window. Your shirt quickly shed. Hit the ground running. The great man is dead. Gamble your last check. The children don't need bread. The cupboard will remain bare this year. The great man is dead. A fight breaks in the bar. Broken glass and hot lead. Fire went off for cowboy. The great man is dead. Mama dances alone. An old 45 plays in her head. Love is now rationed. The great man is dead. This trail leads nowhere. In whose footsteps shall we tread? Fill up that hole, boy. The great man is dead. And turns out I was adopted. I found this out when I was about 19 years old. And as a poet and as a writer, at some point I felt I needed to address the father I never got to meet. And this poem is that address. This is called Open Letter to Henry. It is so strange, the photograph I was given of you, because the man in it is me and not me. It is me in costume. It is me at a distance, squinted into focus. Everything I do not know about myself has been buried with you. As I settle into a man I do not know, I become a mystery to myself. How many times have I laughed, coughed, whispered, heard your voice echoing through me? How many times have I missed you waving back at me from behind every mirror while I shaved, washed my hands, cut my hair? How many times have you touched me with my own hand? My inheritance probably lies in habits that annoy me the most. The sound I make clearing my throat, the broad toss of my chest when I walk, or the desolate silence we shared in our heads, in our empty rooms, in our isolated youth. How many times have we been so alone we overlooked one another, standing as close as any man can to his own shadow? In respect to that, there's a poem I wrote based on a photograph I kept of my father, his cousin, and their great uncle. And this is basically a description and introduction for that photograph. It's called Preface to a Photograph, Delano, California, 1976. 3 black men, spooned from the same bowl, stand embracing in my father's mobile home. The lightning flash of them frozen in the amber of 1976. Their rhyming eyes sparkle like lit matches. Men don't smile, but they are happy, arms interlocked, long as the interstate. It is night. In every room where my father stands, there is a river. Here, a hot river sweetened with perch laps the drawn curtain. 3 black men, blues singers of borderless ache, soldiers, gamblers, cowboys, the mahogany concentration of my father's 10,000-mile highway stare, cousin JD in a 1970s plaid juicy fruit leisure suit, and their great uncle Iley, a human spear in a tweed flat cap, chin up and flaring like a knife. I'm gonna do a couple of narrative poems that I haven't gotten to do this weekend. This I almost didn't do, but I wanted to share it anyway and see how it sounds. This is called The Boy in the ROTC Uniform. Resembles a general in miniature, fully uniformed. He is chubby but solid as a truck. When the light changes, I watch him cross the intersection before an idol of cars at the freeway exit. As he walked, some unseen thing within him appeared to kick. He stopped at the corner from where I was standing at the bus stop and began aggressively digging in his pocket for a white inhaler. He screams for breath through it, bending like a saxophone player, before producing a bright white bulb from his throat. He braces himself against the light pole, then stands still as if fallen asleep on his feet. Before I make any decision, a bus, like an inverted moon, rises over the butte across the street. The boy approaches and jumps behind me until I turn to tell him, "It's not my bus, youngster." The sun climbs. Night thaws. Bleary headlights rush the freeway into rapids. I wait. There was this one time when I caught my cousin Isaac brought to his knees on our back porch. Not quite a full hour had passed after checking him out of Merritt Hospital. Finished he was with hospitals, marriages, and everything else. At first, I thought he was praying, but with his whole body, as if in a hurry to expel everything he could not explain to God. Well, yes, I never get to read this poem aloud, and I give great thanks for the opportunity to share it with you guys. This poem has been around with me for a while, but the original title was Hold the Phone, and I decided to change it after watching a video of a man trying to get his grandsons to use a rotary telephone. So this is now called What Zero Sounds Like. There used to be one in every house, affixed to the kitchen wall or on its own end table or altar. Our bone white phone ruled from a wire stand crammed with phone books and addresses torn from envelopes. If you remembered to clean it, you'd wipe it down like a baby. Its umbilical cord would braid itself over all the stories and lies transmitted. You'd have to stand on a dining room chair to let the long cord unkink. The handset, a satellite spinning weightless above the rug. You slow dialed if you didn't want to talk but had to. You'd listen to its metallic purr, watch the plastic wheel rotate, and as it rang, wondered what the house or room on the other end looked like. Ours would scream in an empty living room and you'd run to it. Tell it from the kitchen you were coming, even as footfalls shook the decorative plates off the walls. Sometimes, Mama could tell who was on the line just by hearing it ring. She'd say Jesus before picking it up. Not because it was him calling, but rather she knew she was going to need him before she hung up. Grandpa would call every day and hold the phone. You'd stand there and listen to him breathe for a while. You had to wait, even if you knew what he wanted, and what he wanted was nothing. Just nothing. Where your mama, he'd finally say, his mouth echoing toothless M's. Mama would lean back on the couch, his voice in her ear, and they'd exchange breaths for the longest time. She'd sit like that for a while, smoking, her fingers turning solitaire tarot on the coffee table. Sometimes she'd lean back on the couch and I'd put my ear to her stomach, listening to what was going on in there, until she had to get up and do this or finish that. Call waiting used to be called patience. You let the phone ring, and if no one picked it up, you called right back and let it ring some more. Call forwarding was when someone would call and it wasn't for you. You'd have to go to the yard where she spray watered tomato plants, or you'd hang out the window above the driveway to shout through the bathroom door, phone. It's true there was a number to call just to hear the time. Actually, it wasn't a number at all. You dialed popcorn. There was a number to dial for movie times. There was a number to dial for dirty whispers. There was a number to dial to hear a psychic tell you everything you didn't know about your own life. There was a number to dial to hear a joke. The joke was that call cost $10 and there was no number to dial to get your money back. There was a number to dial to save money on a long distance call, and you had to dial another number before dialing the number you wanted to dial. Long distance only happened Sunday nights. You sat with your parents and shouted over the width of states. The caller's voice so far away they sounded otherworldly. You had to talk, quick and with purpose, remember your report card, and ask about your cousin because time was money tumbling from someone's palm. As a teen, I could talk for hours about nothing. Or prank call. I talked with a girl once while slowly pouring water out of a gallon pitcher into the toilet. It took the longest time before she asked, "What are you doing?" "Just standing here," I said. Obscene phone calls don't happen anymore. I miss them. One day, my father caught one and said, "Hold on for a minute." Then he passed the phone to Uncle Jerry, who just drove 270 miles from Bakersfield. He took the phone, listened for a good while, then frowned, started cussing till black flies tumbled from his mouth. That was back when hanging up on somebody really meant something. Last but not least, this poem is, the form of this poem is a pantoum, which would explain the repetition in it. This poem is called Sandwich School. Give me a turkey sandwich with everything, no onions. I don't want them things, what's that? Red bell pepper tastes like water, nasty. And pickles, I want pickles, extra pickles. I don't want them things, what's that? Olives is nasty. Yellow cheese, the yellow kind. What kind of bread is that? Brown? Ugh. Did y'all put honey mustard? I'm watching y'all. Olives is nasty. Yellow cheese, the yellow kind. What kind of bread is that? Brown? Ugh. Did y'all put honey mustard? I'm watching y'all. Look, ain't you been to sandwich school? Damn. What kind of bread is that? Brown? Ugh. That's too much lettuce. That don't look right. Ain't you been to sandwich school? Damn. I'm allergic to tomatoes. Oh, hell no. That's too much lettuce. That don't look right. Red bell pepper tastes like water. Nasty. I'm allergic to tomatoes. Oh, hell nah. Just give me a turkey sandwich with everything, no onion.